So I think that we could all agree here that the overall backlash for the Acolyte far outperforms the Last Jedi backlash from the fans back in 2017. I mean, if you compare both 2017 and today in 2024, there's no doubt about it that more fans are beginning to wake up to Disney's shenanigans. I think back in 2017, it was more vague, if not very vague, when it came to Disney's agenda. That's right around the time where people were starting to question themselves, yeah, I think Disney really doesn't care about Star Wars at all after what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi by breaking lore and really creating something so bold and out of touch with Star Wars. And it makes, of course, a lot of sense now because we know that Leslye Headland looked up to Rian Johnson as an inspiration for The Last Jedi to bring that down into the Acolyte. That's why it's just as bad, if not worse. I say it's worse, to be honest. But if you look at episodes 3 and 4, really not the greatest episodes by far with the Acolyte. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So we all know that Bob Iger is going to string along the shareholders and the customers as much as possible. He will lie, without question about the current status of the Acolyte until, of course, the following year. He will do this with every single project moving onwards that fails, that gets endless backlash left and right, just so he can step down properly by 2026. He doesn't want to step down before then. He doesn't want to step down as CEO by 2025 because that will show a sign of defeat. He wants to basically run his course and go through all the years to finish his overall work, per se. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot to do with his desperate damage control over the Acolyte series and why this is just getting out of control. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, with the Acolyte episodes 3 and 4 considered the worst of all the episodes as of yet for the series, one major development now has much to do with Disney CEO Bob Iger engaging in desperate damage control over the Acolyte in the midst of the episodes dropping since the 4th one and the backlash that it received for the use of pronouns. Iger delivered the following. As CEO of the Walt Disney Company, it is my responsibility to remain vocal and transparent with our core customer base and our shareholders around the globe. Addressing our newest Star Wars installment, The Acolyte, after carefully reviewing the reported criticism of our latest project, we can't stress this enough that this does not make up the majority of our core customer base for the Star Wars brand. What we find very irresponsible are those customers of ours that create a loud voice that come from a minority of our supporters that create a false narrative that the Walt Disney Company is all about supporting and pushing an agenda with our latest Star Wars installment, which is simply not the case at all, and quite frankly, completely untrue. Our support for LGBTQ representation and our usage of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our Star Wars brand is nothing more than to appeal and to reach a wider, more global audience for our Disney Plus platform. What we do not tolerate are a small margin of our customers tricking our audience into believing that our latest Star Wars project was not a success and failed to resonate with our core customer base. It is not only irresponsible, but also offensive in nature to engage in such false narratives. We ask everyone to let the product speak for itself. So far, we have been very proud with the reception that we've been receiving with the Acolyte. This is our greatest push for DEI in a Star Wars television program yet, and it is something that truly reshaped our company here at Disney and for Lucasfilm, one of our most valued divisions here. We believe many of our upcoming projects will rightfully adapt to our usage of DEI, especially in this case with Star Wars. Kathy Kennedy has been providing a very difficult task on how to properly bring this into the Star Wars world for our many television programs and theatrical films intended for release in theaters. Now guys, let me just stop here quick before I move on about what Bob Iger is spewing again about the Acolyte. Alright, so this is like the upteenth time that he has lied about a product or about a film or a series that really just is failing day after day and really not resonating with fans. He is literally going on about how the fans that truly respect George Lucas's vision, George Lucas's philosophy of Star Wars, his overall outlook on what he created 40 plus years ago, well over 40 years ago, is that the ones that are speaking their mind, the ones that are defending the franchise, are attempting to trick others fall into their narrative. That's how Bob Iger sees it. And that's when you really begin to realize how deliberate everything really is when it comes to Bob Iger. I don't believe he's so out of touch with reality as many others have said before in the past. I think that whatever he says, any step that he takes, it's all about being 100% deliberate. This is no different than his lies about, quieting down the noise when it comes to their agenda or any other reported agenda, quote unquote, or that Disney never engages in a culture war. And he even talked about that again. He keeps saying this over and over. He does the same repeat corporate, speech about anything that's failing, anything that's really getting a lot of criticism or just not working well with a core fan base, as he likes to put it, right? Or core customer base, so to speak. So, interestingly enough, the Acolyte is still spiraling downward out of control. It is not going to improve when you're halfway through a series that has been so lackluster and so damaging to the product, to the property, that you really can't even fix this thing midway through. There's no fixing this thing. It's tainted, it's not working, people walked away. Even by episode 2, there's a lot of people out there that didn't even see the tragedy that is episode 3. But moving onwards, he goes on to conclude, our latest series, The Acolyte, we believe via our analysts, has been an eye-opening success from critics, with a shred of criticism that we believe is coming from a place that is not genuine with that community. We have dealt with a similar pattern before in the past with our films, and one improvement that we will seek is how to properly improve our marketing strategies to reach new fans and other loyals that may have not been convinced to tune into our latest product. To the small margin of our customer base creating such noise, it is irresponsible for both the creators and our loyals that have been enjoying this brand that has been created well over 40 years ago by Mr. Lucas and by Lucasfilm. So again, Bob Iger again is trying to really make people feel like the victim, or making them feel guilt is what it sounds like to me. The people that are voicing their opinion, he's trying to make you feel like you're ruining the experience for others. Look, anyone who likes The Acolyte, nothing's going to change their mind, and that's okay. I don't think anybody's ruining anything for anybody. Anybody that's speaking up their, mind about something, that's their opinion, and then you have other people's opinions. Whatever they see, they're going to convince what they like or dislike by themselves. That's just how the world works. So, Bob Iger, I think, really is just doing this pathetic damage control that is so obvious to really make The Acolyte look better than it is. And look, at the same exact time, we know that there's a lot of things going on between the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm. Merchandise sales for The Acolyte are a colossal failure right now. Pre-sales are way down compared to previous merchandise sales of other Star Wars shows and or films, and it really is an embarrassment, let's just say that. But anyways, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.